The year was 2005. In a quiet lecture hall at Cornell University, Dr. John C. Sanford, a world-renowned geneticist and inventor of the gene gun, stood before an audience of scientists and students. His lecture was not about another breakthrough in genetic engineering but about something far more unsettling. The human genome is not evolving, it is deteriorating. Sanford's research would shake the foundations of evolutionary biology. His theory of genetic entropy argues that mutations accumulate over time in a way that leads to inevitable degradation rather than improvement. In other words, evolution does not create better organisms, it slowly destroys them. Yet, despite its implications, this theory remains largely unacknowledged in mainstream science. Why? Because it challenges the very premise of evolution itself. In this chapter, we will explore the hidden science of genetic entropy, the researchers who support it, and the evidence that suggests Darwin's theory may not be as secure as once thought. The mystery of the failing genome. Genetic mutations are often described as the fuel of evolution. According to traditional evolutionary theory, beneficial mutations accumulate over time, leading to new and improved traits. However, research in population genetics tells a different story. Sanford and other geneticists have pointed out a critical flaw: the vast majority of mutations are either harmful or neutral, and beneficial mutations are exceedingly rare. In fact, studies show that over 99.99% of mutations are either damaging or have no impact at all. If this is the case, how could evolution be progressively improving life? The answer, according to Sanford, is that it isn't. Instead of building complexity, mutations introduce genetic noise, leading to an irreversible decline in genome integrity. The mutational load: why natural selection can't save us. One of the biggest problems for evolution is something called mutational load. The buildup of slightly harmful mutations that natural selection cannot eliminate fast enough. Evolutionary models assume that natural selection filters out bad mutations, leaving only the beneficial ones. But real-world data tells a different story. Every generation, human beings accumulate an estimated 100 new mutations per individual. Most of these are neutral or slightly harmful, meaning they do not cause immediate genetic disorders but slowly degrade the genome over time. If this process has been occurring for thousands, or millions, of years, it raises a troubling question: how are humans still here? Shouldn't natural selection have eliminated us long ago? This is where the controversy begins. Some scientists argue that natural selection does eliminate harmful mutations effectively, but Sanford and others point out that most mutations are too subtle for selection to remove. Instead, they accumulate, leading to an inevitable genetic meltdown. What evolutionary theorists don't want to discuss. If genetic entropy is real, it means that life is not evolving upward but is instead in a state of slow decay. This directly contradicts the fundamental principles of Darwinian evolution. Some evolutionists have acknowledged this issue but offer few solutions. Dr. Alexei Kondrashov, a leading evolutionary biologist, admitted. Yet, instead of addressing these concerns, the mainstream response has often been to ignore or suppress such findings. Scientists who challenge the dominant paradigm face professional backlash, loss of funding, and even job termination. Dr. Gunter Beachley, a former atheist and prominent paleontologist, experienced this firsthand when he publicly questioned Darwinian evolution. Is the human race running out of time? If genetic entropy continues unchecked, what does the future hold? According to Sanford, the implications are sobering. Instead of an upward trajectory of evolutionary improvement, humanity, and all life, is slowly unraveling genetically. This aligns more with a created world that was originally perfect but is now decaying, rather than a self-improving evolutionary system. Some scientists suggest that medical advancements and artificial genetic intervention might slow the process, but these do not eliminate the underlying problem. At best, they are temporary solutions to a fundamental flaw in the evolutionary model. What are the alternatives? If evolution cannot account for the increasing degradation of the genome, what alternative explanations exist? The creation model suggests that life was originally designed with perfect genetic information, and that mutations are a result of a fallen and deteriorating world. This would explain why we see genetic decay rather than improvement. While mainstream scientists reject this idea on philosophical grounds, the data increasingly supports it. Evolutionary theory struggles to explain how life arose, how complex biological information is generated, and why we observe genetic deterioration rather than progress. Conclusion: an inconvenient truth for evolution. The theory of genetic entropy presents a serious challenge to Darwinian evolution. If life is not evolving but rather deteriorating, it calls into question the very foundation of evolutionary theory. This is why genetic entropy is often ignored, dismissed, or outright suppressed. It is not because the science is lacking, but because its implications are unacceptable to the prevailing secular worldview. Yet, as we continue to uncover more about the nature of the genome, the evidence points in one direction. Life was not the result of random mutations and selection. It was designed. And just like any design system, it is subject to entropy over time. This is only the beginning. As we move forward, we will explore even more hidden science, evidence that challenges the status quo and opens the door to a radically different understanding of our origins. Like, share, and subscribe to uncover more.